the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, in Washington early this morning, President Bush repeated one of his favorite canards about presidential historians. He said again, if they're still analyzing number one, we think he means George Washington, 43 doesn't have to worry about it. Our fourth story in the countdown, it's number 44 everybody else is worried about, to such a degree that even Mr. Bush himself has finally noticed there is a presidential election in November. The question is why he chose this very moment, as the analysis of his presidency makes his disapproval ratings historical, to chime in on campaign 2008. His job approval is at an all-time low in the AP Ipsos poll, 30%, and at an all-time low inside his own party, fewer than two-thirds, 61%. Even among the faithfulest faithful at CPAC today, some conservatives in attendance denied the president even polite applause as he first summarized how his policies have left the country in such great shape and then explained how the country is in such crappy shape that we need 4 more years of conservative leadership, leadership he seemed to imply Senator John McCain could provide.
We've had good debates, and soon we'll have a nominee who will carry a conservative banner into this election and beyond. Listen, the stakes in November are high. This is an important election. Prosperity and peace are in the balance. So with confidence in our vision and faith in our values, let us go forward, fight for victory, and keep the White House in 2008. God bless you, and God bless America.
The White House later denied endorsing John McCain. But Mr. Bush's remarks calling the eventual nominee a conservative came just one day after Senator McCain was booed by CPAC when he tried to win over conservatives who argue he is not sufficiently conservative. Also not sufficiently conservative for CPAC, a rare distinction that she shares with the President of the United States, MSNBC political analyst Rachel Maddow of Air America Radio. Good to see you. Was Bush endorsing him? Was he damning him with faint praise? Did he just forget his name, maybe?
I think Bush was there to endorse himself. I think Bush was there to remind his party and to remind the country that there is at least one room full of people in America that will still cheer for him when he speaks. I mean, he's worried about his legacy, and part of his legacy is whether or not his party allows him to participate, even nominally, in the process of choosing his successor. And I essentially think that he was there to say, don't pretend I don't exist the way you guys did in all the Republican debates.
Well, but that then raises 2 very important questions about this campaign. Should the Democratic campaign simply then consist of a series of ads saying vote for, and then later on you just dub in whichever wins the nomination? Hillary, Barack, vote because of this videotape right here, and just show this again and again in an endless loop all summer and fall. Would that not be the simplest way to handle a campaign?
The hugging. It would also be the cheapest campaign ever, which might be nice for the country. You know, so many gallons of ink have been spilled in the past week or so about how much the far right wing hates John McCain. And I think it's made us kind of forget that a lot of Americans would see it as a badge of honor to be disapproved of by Ann Coulter, for example. I mean, that puts you in company with a lot of American heroes, like the 9/11 widows and Senator Max Cleland, who's a triple amputee Vietnam vet. Democrats, I think, have really enjoyed seeing the right wing eat its own and see them get so upset about John McCain. But it's probably time to stop enjoying that show and instead start pointing out that John McCain is really running to continue all of the most hated things about the Bush administration, particularly the war and his ruinous fiscal policies.
So what then, that's the next extending of this question, what does Senator McCain do if Mr. Bush gets frisky about campaigning and wants to be out there, wants to be by name involved?
I mean, he has a few options. He could pull the fire alarm. You know, he could start talking about torture. That'll probably make Bush leave, talking about having been tortured. He could accuse Bush of having had a black baby. I mean, the options for him at this point in terms of getting back at George Bush are legion. John McCain is probably going to run on war, on the Iraq war and on his hopes for an Iran war. And so he may make the mistake of having Bush out there as kind of a war trinket on the campaign trail. I think it would be dumb because people don't think of just war when they look at George Bush. They think warmonger, and that's something that John McCain should probably avoid.
Right. Plus shoot the economy to hell and the Constitution and several other things that he brings along as baggage. Yeah. But lastly, I mean, you just go past this and you're talking about things that people don't really register the importance of. Let me just read one sentence in this script again. The White House later denied endorsing McCain. This is a 2-term Republican president. This is unprecedented. There's no, I mean, all the ha-ha, all the jokes, they don't want to associate it. It's the same party. and the option is a Democrat, would you think there would be the need to deny endorsing the presumptive Republican nominee? Is that possible?
You know, the only way this really makes sense at this point, and maybe they think that Huckabee's going to run away with Kansas this weekend. Maybe they think there's some chance for something other than McCain. They hate John McCain. They're constitutionally incapable of endorsing him. Bush's endorsement may not mean much, but they really are absolutely riven as a party.
Beyond belief.
Yeah.
So somebody in that White House, well, all right, now it makes sense. Somebody in that White House who believed all the guff about Iraq and believed everything else, has concluded that Mike Huckabee can win every remaining delegate. You're absolutely right. Rachel Maddow, host of the Rachel Maddow Show on Air America, and with us here on MSNBC now. Great, thanks.
Thanks, Keith.
Have a good weekend.